Hello, welcome, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this Fighter Jet Roundtable Season 2, Episode 5. Today we have 4 new aircraft that are going to kick the crap out of everybody for our enjoyment. So, get yourself a drink, mosey on in and get cozy in your favorite chair, and let's go ahead and get on down to the Watchtower and the Roundtable and see what we have in store for everybody today. And we're here at the Watchtower yet again to take a look at today's competitors. Let's go ahead and look over at the A team over here. This is the ANL-20 Inferno Mark 9, sent in by Android Elite, a very long-standing competitor and commentator. He was the one who hosted the FAS showdown tournament before I decided to do Season 2 here, which was completely dropped after I said, hey, maybe I should do Season 2. Either way, this airplane is gorgeous. Not only is it using beautiful wing shaping with these P-wings here, with a good chunk of HP, but, well, it's also packing a good bit of heat with these super fancy Meteor missiles here. These Meteor missiles were recently changed, as in just maybe an hour ago. As of recording this episode, as a result, they are now faster and more deadly than they were before. Several aircraft in this fight, in this heat, are actually using Meteors, so I had to go through and replace them with the new ones and copy their settings over and everything to make sure that everybody got the benefit of the new changes. That being said, quite an interesting and very pretty looking aircraft, if I do say so myself, taking the good parts from Jimmy's Spearjet and turning it into a functional and beautiful looking aircraft design. Running around with some Product 30 engines, looks like PL-10 missiles there, and we've got our Meteors, so this thing is going to be pretty nasty. Plus, it's packing pulse lasers as a special weapon. So, we are definitely going to see plenty of pain tossed in from Android here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the competition. So here on the B team, we have the Dassault Rafale XD, sent in by Script Kitty. It is apparently a meme attempt at a Rafale, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That Eurofighter. And it's looking pretty nice. It's rocking some quams on the wingtips, and also is running with Meteors. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Running twin GAU-22s on either side for extra gun depth, and mostly EU-inspired missile loadout here. We've got EU Mica IR missiles and EU Meteor missiles. So, other than the Quams and the GAU-22, very clearly inspired by its namesake. Also running with 2 Saturn afterburning engines, plenty of power behind it. All in all, a very small, compact sort of design, with a decent chunk of HP on its parts here too. So, well, other than the engines, I think. The engines have okay HP too. I'm working on outdated information there. Either way, let's go ahead and get these 2 aircraft into the sky and see which one will be moving on. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get things started. Competition begins, once again, set to 20 kilometers as is the norm. And looks like the Rafales take off first. Rafale XDs take off first. That doesn't necessarily mean anything though, as we've seen. The Infernos are deadly aircraft, all things considered. Although, with the missile changes to the Meteor, I think we're going to see some Well, at the very least, the first missile exchange is going to take place a lot faster than in previous rounds. Yes, the Meteor has an operational speed of above Mach 4 compared to other missiles in its class, even though in the real world, other missiles can go just about as fast. The AIM-120D, for example, can go about Mach 4 and maybe a little above that. However, it's very rarely actually shown. Either way, we're getting close to competition distance here, and just like that, things are starting. They are now making their first turn, and looks like the Raffles get their first missiles off, followed very quickly thereafter by the Infernos, launching those meteors. There are 4 meteors on the Infernos, while there are only 2 on the Raffles. You can see just how fast those missiles are closing the distance. Keep in mind, those are traveling about Mach 4. And here they come, closing in on the Infernos. Oh, that was close. And it looks like the Raffle actually ended up taking a meteor to the face. Never something that is a pleasant experience. Let's go ahead and check. That is the first Raffle. Here, let's go ahead and zoom on in. See how it looks. Ooh, looks like it took it like a champ in the face there. And never mind, there's a second one absolutely annihilating the Raffle. In typical fashion, let's go ahead and go to the solo craft here. Have it watch as it closes in. It is now evading PL-10 missiles, dropping flares very quickly. Looks also like it's targeting those. Whew! Close on those missiles, flyby. Very close. Missiles closing in, whatever that is, PL-10. Getting closer, dropping flares, cuts off its engine, and it's dodged. At this point, it looks like it might be starting to head into the thing, but we have another missile coming in. This Raffle is just pinned down by the deluge of missiles from the Inferno. You might say the Inferno is packing heat. And a very close-range missile snipe those Micas from the Raffle. It is now a 1v1 heading into a joust. Inferno tries to turn hard to avoid being struck as they go into the joust. This could still be anybody's fight. The Inferno might be able to turn more quickly. Actually, they might turn at roughly the same rate. However, the Inferno has those pulse lasers, which means if it gets a few good shots, it's all it needs to drop the Raffle. And just like that, as we can see, the Inferno getting some shots with the pulse lasers and stripping off the wing, and that's death. That's center mass hit, pulse laser kill. Round 1 between the aircraft goes to the Inferno. So, the Infernos managed to pull out a victory for round 1 between these two. Let's see how round 2 goes. Well, if things continue to hold, we're probably going to be seeing an Inferno victory. The Infernos have been lauded as one of the nastiest fighters in the competition so far. And now, with the combination of those meteor missiles from both sides actually showing that they can very easily close the distance between targets. If you're looking to get kills at long range, meteor's not a bad choice. If you're looking to distract your target so you can get in closer, slower missiles might be a better choice. But long-range death seems to be the specialty of the day. That being said, let's see if the Inferno can keep the heat on the Raffles, or if the Raffles will just wind up laughing at their attempts. Just like my terrible puns. Alright, this time they seem to get the missiles off at almost the exact same time. Interestingly enough, both the Inferno and the Raffles are not particularly stealthy aircraft. Once more, we have 4 meteor missiles streaking by. High speed coming in. The Infernos are diving and dumping chaff to try and avoid those missiles. That one, that Raffle looks like it's got 4. Oh! And a smack in the face to that one Raffle. the Infernos have now split up. Once more, we're going to go ahead and watch the solo aircraft. Once again, firing a Quam, which actually does look like it is tracking. That's kind of a nice change. Normally the Clams don't like to track particularly well due to the way that they are currently set up. Though, on the bright side, that is being looked into and will hopefully be changed in the near future. However, I don't think a Quam in that case would have really helped it. The Inferno has, well, ended things quite rightly. That being said, we are now going on to round 2. Let's see who our new competitors are. So, for our next round of competitors, we have 2 new aircraft. We have the FJRT-3 Harpy, sent in by Jay Skellington, and the SAI F-3 Pink Panther, sent in by Sturmhawk. Very, very cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Harpy first on Team A. Zooming in, looks like a pretty nimble little thing. Kind of does look like a bird, weirdly enough, with the cockpit there, as it is. Big ol' gigantic air brakes. We've got the WS-10s on the back of this. Very cool. And once again, Meteor missiles. Again, they had these before the changes, but they got the benefit of the changes as well. It's got dual missile racks. Dual missile, you can actually see it there. There's one, and the other one's hiding over there. It's got 2 of them, which is kind of cool. Splits the weight among them, and it just looks cool, too. I mean, well, let's be real. And twin GAL-22s. It's also got Quams hiding in here, I believe. Yep, right there. So 2 Quams hiding. But those will rotate into position to fire. Altogether, a very nimble-looking little craft, particularly because the engines does not look to be particularly heavy either, so it's probably going to get up and go. So let's go ahead and see what it's fighting. So once again, sent in by Sturmhawk, we have the Psy Pink Panther, being obnoxiously pink and yellow colored. It does definitely indeed remind me of the Pink Panther. The only thing it doesn't have is the Pink Panther theme. I wonder if I can play that for this. I'll have to look it up. If it's playing right now, well, I guess we determined that it was totally okay for me to use. So it's using a very interesting looking cockpit here. Normally one I believe you would see on a like a helicopter, like a little bird or something. That being said, it's also running with some pulse lasers for its special weapons, deadly things. AIM-9Xs for its heat seekers, and 120Ds for the well, basically the counterpoint to the Meteors. Sort of the American version of the Meteor, or actually the Meteor, I believe, is the European version of the AIM-120D, or they fill similar roles. That being said, it's also got my very cool little custom emblem there on the side. Not that I'm sure that wasn't actually intended, but it's there. I will take things where I can, and it's running with interesting looking elevons here. Interesting elevon setup, to be sure. Plus, Product 30 engines, herpaderp, looking pretty slick. Obviously made before the changes to the P-Wings were put forth. Obviously, he probably doesn't intend to have this hideous tiled look on the top and bottom. That's just with the different P-Wing texture. Either way, let's go ahead and get these 2 beasts into the sky. Will the kitty cat win against the birdie bird? Let's find out. So let's get them into the sky, start competition. I don't really know where I would place my money on these aircraft. I haven't actually seen any of them compete. Actually, that's not true. I think I might have seen them fire some missiles and one of the BDA guys running a a test competition between a bunch of different aircraft. I have been told by one of my sources that the Harpy has roll issues potentially, so that is perhaps something standing against it. Can't say anything about the Pink Panther other than that it is fabulously pink, and well, maybe it'll blind its enemies with how gaudy its colors are, but I guess we'll have to see. Nervously, we're saying the Pink Panther was trying to avoid terrain. Once again, guys, make sure that you've got your terrain stuff set to be effective. You don't want to lose because your aircraft flies into terrain. If possible, test your craft in an area where, you know, they might have to deal with some terrain to make sure that they fly over it or whatever else. Default altitude and all that fun stuff. Either way, I will go ahead and shut up until the aircraft get into position, and then we shall throw down. And with that, the competition is starting. Pink Panther's meandering along, having fun. Not really given much of a care in the world. And the Harpies are now closing in. Interestingly enough, they haven't fired missiles yet, which leads me to believe they're actually reasonably stealthy designs. You wouldn't be able to tell just by looking at them, though. The Harpies didn't seem like they'd be that stealthy. Either way, they're closing quite significantly now. Within about 15 kilometers, and we have... sorry. Had a yawn. We've got quams and other things launching very sporadically now as the two aircraft close in. Missiles hitting behind. We've got quams, AIM-9s, who knows? All kinds of stuff coming in here. Getting nice and close as that Harpy is closing in. Let's go ahead and get on that because it looks like it's right in the action. Pink Panther launching flares. Harpy is trying to turn in, but it's hitting its terrain limits or something? That's interesting. Well, this one's kind of going off in this direction. Trying its best to turn and not doing so well. That being said, I will go ahead and slip to the other Harpy. It is behind it a Panther. Harpy does not seem to be the most nimble looking thing. Fast, but not nimble. Seems like it was built more as a, Harpy taken out by missile, looks like. That is rough. Let's go ahead and get to this Pink Panther. Over here. Get a nice look of missile coming in from the other one. 120D is attempting to lock from close range. Does manage to get it. Actually tracking surprisingly well for a close-range shot. I am impressed with that. Then again, the Harpy isn't exactly jinking very hard. Either way, it's really the first time I've seen 120Ds launched at that close of a distance and function as well as they did. Perhaps an interesting, perhaps a unique choice for someone wanting to hit an enemy closer. Oh, and the pulse lasers finally light up, decapitating that Harpy. Well, Kitty Cat wins round one. And here we are again for round two between these fighters. Let's get them into the air. Pink Panther proving it's pretty sneaky. But I can see why, though. I think the Pink Panther is, well, he's kind of a sneaky kind of guy. So the Pink Panthers are heading out. They do fly at a slower rate than the Harpies do, I've noticed. Would be kind of interesting if we, it's kind of a shame if we'd had Script Kitty make his way here. We could have had a kitty cat versus a kitty cat. Although it would have been funny if the Harpy had been made by Script Kitty, because we would have had a cat made by a bird, and Stormhawk made the Pink Panther, so we would have had a hawk making a cat. Yes, because these are weird things that Kaz's brain does while he's sitting for so long, waiting for the planes to get into position.
A few inches later.
And the peaceful waiting is now at an end while the Harpy and the Pink Panther turn into each other. They are, well, the Harpy was designed, apparently, I looked back through the stuff, the Harpy was designed to be a little stealthy, and the Pink Panther was designed to be stealthy from the get-go. I guess that's why it's named the Pink Panther. As, it took me a bit to actually realize, then I'm like, boy, Kaz, you're dumb. How did you not pick up on that first? Silly man. Well, they are closing to pretty close distances here. Alright, and the Harpies are dropping things. Let's actually watch from the Pink Panther this time. Since first missiles are away, it's always more fun to watch from the back seat here. Pink Panther trying to get a lock with that AIM-9 and manages to get a good lock. Missile corkscrewing as AIM-9s do. Very close. Woohoo! That was spicy. Almost getting a close range, well, almost getting a shot or hit with that. Pulse lasers and AIM-9 moving into track, doing more corkscrewing. Those AIM-9Xs are fun to watch with that corkscrew, gotta say. Pink Panther here, moving around, still with that AIM-9X, trying to get things locked and fired. There is actually an experimental fix in process for the BDA stuff to make sure that we don't have issues like that anymore, where the missiles will fire much more reliably at close range. So, very, very cool indeed. AIM-120D launching, firing at close range. What is the other Pink Panther doing? See what's going on over here. Also trying to get a shot with that pulse laser. And looks like it succeeds in doing so. It looks like that Harpy actually took a lot of damage. I didn't actually see what from. Maybe you guys saw in the upper corner here. Or pulse laser fire, and that's gonna about do it for the Harpies. Looks like everybody's favorite Cool Cat is gonna be going on to the finals of Episode 5. But will the Cool Cat be able to put out the flames of the Inferno? And here we are for the finals. A stealthy Cool Cat versus a flaming hot death machine. Let's go ahead and get them into the sky and see which one comes out on top. I do know the Pink Panthers are going to be slower, and they are stealthy. So that begs the question, is the stealth from the Pink Panthers going to have a significant impact when it comes to dealing with the Inferno's, the Inferno's missiles? It does actually have 4 radar-guided missiles. Each one of them are meteors, very fast, very nasty missiles. So, what's gonna happen? Now the meteors have I think they have an absolute lock-on distance of about 15 kilometers. Same thing as 120Ds and, roughly equally as effective as trying to dodge a quam. So it'll be interesting to see how the Pink Panthers deal with that. They are obviously designed to not be capable of being locked onto within a thing. Of course, the radars of the plane itself has to be able to lock onto the craft, and the ASA radar that the Infernos are using, as well as most competition aircraft, has a absolute lock range of 5 kilometers. So that being the case, it is entirely possible that the Panthers might be able to get very close to the Infernos. And in doing so, eliminate some of the advantage that having those meteor missiles would otherwise give them. It will be fascinating to see how this plays out. I'm actually very interested. Very, very interested indeed. And just like that, the competition starts. Both craft moving in to try to get into position. Let's go ahead and zoom in here a little bit. Still quite a ways out. Pink Panther's getting a lock on the Infernos first, launching those AIM-120Ds. The Infernos are not nearly as stealthy as the Pink Panthers, which means in that case the Pink Panther would, of course, get its missile lock first. However, the Infernos dive very low to terrain, almost looking like they were using the terrain as cover against the missiles. First missiles are out. That being the case, I am going to switch to the Infernos here. Holy hell, look at that! Flying very close to the terrain, using the terrain to actually... That is beautiful. That Inferno's getting also very close to the ground. Looks like it did fire its meteor. The other one fired its meteor missile. Now that the danger from the other missiles have fired, or the danger from the other missiles has expired, they're now charging in at high speed with those meteors leading the charge. Pink Panther, that one seems to be having plenty of lead time. The other one, though, maybe not so much. Those meteors are going to be a lot less effective at closer ranges. That being said, though, you fire enough of them, you're still going to potentially get some hits. This Pink Panther here, decapitated, knocked out, and done in completely. Pulse lasers now going both these. Ooh! And we have a clean decapitation. That is always nasty. Those cockpits and the connecting parts must have been weak. In which case, well, we can see the result of that. Still, the Inferno's diving close to the terrain. That was cool. And this is only round 1. Well, let's get into round 2. Here we are for round 2. This could be anybody's fight. Once again, I want to remind my audience who might be scratching their chins here, the AIM-120Ds don't really have any advantages over the, over the meteors. And the meteors don't really have any direct advantages over the 120Ds. They both lock at approximately the same time, the only difference being that the meteors are much, much faster in function. Which means that, well, they'll get to the target sooner. But, again, if your goal is to try to distract your enemy and allow you to get closer to them before dealing damage, then the 120D might be a better choice. Either way, I'm going to shut up and let these planes get into position, and then we'll see a proper showdown. And the competition starts. Pink Panthers and Infernos now turning to face one another for what could be the final bout here. Pink Panthers far at the edge of the screen. Just turn maybe a little bit. Alright, first missiles being launched from the Pink Panthers, but we've seen this before. The Infernos diving to gain speed, and looks like they're splitting up this time. Looks like one 120D per target. 120Ds, once again, look like they hit terrain. That's really cool. That is the first time I've seen that. Okay, I still gotta watch the Inferno for this. I have to. I have to watch them zipping this close to the terrain. That missile speeds by, trying to get lost with those meteors, but also trying to avoid 120Ds. Woo! Close range. They're not quite a bit of ways from one another. But now it's time for the Inferno's counterattack. Spinning around, launching those meteors. Let's go ahead and switch to the Pink Panthers. This one, flying straight toward the Inferno, trying to close him with the AIM-9s. Inferno still dropping countermeasures. That, I believe, well, at this range, I don't actually know. Well, Pink Panther just getting smacked by a missile. once again, getting decapitated. That cockpit, not the best choice, it seems. This Pink Panther is all alone now against its enemies. How is it going to fare? At this point, I think it's pretty clear. Pulse lasers now coming in. Inferno banking hard to get behind it. Very, very cool. More missiles coming in. The Inferno is a more agile fighter. Yeah, those Inferno. Oh, jeez. Louise, holy shit. Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe we have a winner for episode 5 of FJRT Season 2. That is the Inferno, sent in by Android Elite. At least it's not a key. Well, congratulations to Android, and until next time, ladies and gentlemen, happy fighting and happy building.